Good evening, Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, and dear guest. One good evening to everyone. Myself, Regina Ismail, and I will be the surgeon at arms for today's meeting. Welcome to our comprised meeting session in our 10th Alliance Toastmasters Club meeting number 43. Technical Toastmasters Club meeting number 82. Indian Academic Toastmasters Club meeting number 140. AIM Toastmasters Club meeting number 318 and Silicon Gavelier Club meeting number 25. Before starting the meeting, I would like to mention three ground rules which we follow in our Toastmasters meeting. Please turn off your mobile phones or put them in silent mode. As Toastmasters, we don't talk about sex, religion, and politics, so please refrain from discussing these topics. Please don't cross-talk. There are some ground rules for online participants also. Please turn off your video if you are not stepping out of the meeting. If you are stepping out of the meeting, use chat function to provide feedback to speakers directly to encourage them. Please don't put any general message on chat as this may distract viewers and speakers. You can choose and display from reactions as high five or namaste when a speaker joins or leaves. If you're a speaker, please ensure you pin the timer or confirm that you can disable the timer. Everybody has a mission to achieve the goals in their life. Likewise, our Toastmasters Club has a mission. Mission of our Toastmasters Club is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And we are all aware that our theme of our Toastmasters Club is freedom fighters. We know that freedom fighters were people who sacrificed their life selflessly for the freedom of their country. Every country has its fair share of freedom fighters. People look up to them in terms of patriotism and love for one country. So when we hear this word, freedom fighters, the first person who comes into our mind, of course, our Mahatma Gandhi. He's one of the topmost freedom fighters of India. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He's the full name. Was born on October 2nd, 1869. With this, I would like to invite our presiding officer. Toastmasters Girish Mittal is a graduate engineer. He is a life member of Institution of Engineers and All India Management Association. He runs his own software company, which specializes in mathematical and statistical modeling, working with various clients in India and abroad like Oracle, Polaris, Dun and Bradstreet, etc. He is also a certified lead auditor for ISO 9001-2015. He was invited to join Rotary in 2003 and has held various positions in the club and Club I and district. He was president in the RY 2007-2008 of Rotary Club of Mumbai, Borivali East, and was able to give a great year to his club in fellowship and community service. He is the charter member of Eloquent Alliance Toastmasters Club and has taken over its second president in this year. He is an avid marathoner, taking regular part in marathons for 42 kilometers. Let's invite our presiding officer, Toastmasters Girish Mittal. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Regina. It was quite an elaborate introduction. Thank you very much again. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, Gaveliers, and most welcome guests if we have any. As a presiding officer, I call this meeting to order. Shall we, before going ahead, shall we pass the agenda? Toastmaster, our VP Education.
Yes, we can pass the agenda. We have a visitor that is our, area director has come. Only that has not been included in the agenda. Only with that alteration, we can go ahead. We will
Okay,
add
so-
that in the agenda. Yes.
Right. So do we have somebody to propose and to second that agenda?
Of course, yes. Please, I welcome someone to propose the agenda. Propose that the agenda may be passed. It can be adopted. Yes.
Passed.
Yes, Deepak Deshpande has proposed.
Okay. And
Master
I
Renaud
see
seconded.
DTM Renosh
Yes.
seconded.
I just Toastmaster Renaud second the adoption of the
Renosh
agenda.
is,
Okay.
yes, Toastmaster.
So thank you. With this small correction, the agenda gets approved.
Absolutely.
Good morning, good evening, Toastmasters from all over the world. We have from various countries, including Girja, who has joined us from Chicago. Welcome to this joint meeting of Eloquent Elites with St. Paul's Toastmasters Club, Indian Academy Toastmasters Club, Awesome and Innovative Mind Toastmasters Club, and St. Paul Gaveliers Club. I extend a warm welcome to the Toastmasters and Gaveliers from our collaborating clubs all the way from Bahrain. I extend a hearty welcome to the role players from other clubs. Our esteemed General Evaluator today is Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim, Area Director, Area 2. Welcome to our speaker, Muhammad Arafat, all the way from Egypt. Okay, Alexandria Toastmasters Club. Without you all, this meeting would not have been possible. Since this is a hybrid meeting, we have two Toastmasters of the day today. DTM Raja, and who is the Toastmaster of the day offline, and Toastmaster Girja, who will be the Toastmaster of the day for the online part. Briefly introducing both of them, Toastmaster Girja Deshpande is the VP Education of Eloquent Elite Toastmasters Club. She is president of All Elites Advanced Toastmaster Club. She is a blogger, writer, leadership coach, translator, HR consultant, and a very passionate Rotarian. She is as passionate a Rotarian as she is a passionate Toastmaster. She anchors a YouTube show, a series called Freedom from Addiction. The show has now completed 16 episodes, and they are getting amazing response. The offline Toastmaster of the day is Raja Manikam, Distinguished Toastmaster, VP Education in Voice of Innovators Toastmasters, President of Indian Academy Toastmasters. By profession, he is an instrumentation engineer, and by passion, he is a software and a web developer. Father of two princes, immediate past Area 35 Director, and so on and so forth. I hand over the floor to the Distinguished Toastmaster Raja, the offline Toastmaster of the day, to take the proceedings further.
Thank you, Toastmaster Girish Mittal. Wonderful introductions, and I hope all witnessed everyone smile over there. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and Gaveliers and guests. Today's theme is Indian freedom fighters. Let me dive in our theme. Life without liberty is like a body without spirit. British took nearly 100 years to conquer the whole of India and then ruled India about 90 years. The Mughal ruled over India for about 300 years. Our freedom fighters faced depression, slavery, imprisonment, hunger, separation from family, and death. Due to their sacrifice, we live in a free nation. Indian struggle for freedom has given us inspiring leaders and role models. We learned various life lessons from different leaders. Today, together, we will remember the leaders with gratitude and list the lesson we learned from them. Any movement becomes successful because of the leaders who give sense of direction to the masses. I request you all to think on one lesson you have learned from teachings or actions or life of a freedom fighter, or from any instance of freedom movement, and it is useful for our life today. Think of an answer in just about 1 or 2 sentences. As the meeting progresses, we will interact in the interest of time. Let's keep the response crisp. For the sake of guests, every Toastmaster meeting ideally has 3 sections. First section is where our meeting roles, players or individuals and member present prepare speeches as per learning course they have chosen. This section I will handle. Today's online master Toastmaster is Girija Deshpande. She will take you through the second and third sections. Let's move on to the first section, introductions of role player and prepared speeches. See, as per agenda, definitely you have to take in printout in A3 size. Then only you can know about today's all rock stars ready to speak. As per agenda, I would like to introduce our G of the today. Aspiring biomedical engineer, a writer, reader, educator, and dreamer. Started her journey in the Toastmasters circuit at the age of 11 by becoming a Gavelier, and her incredible journey continues as of date. A TED educator and just got the title of TED Fellows. She is someone who keeps a lookout for things where she can become an agent of change and novelty. She believes to speak is to influence, and to influence is to become creators of change, and that is one should strive to achieve. Let us welcome our GE Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. It is my privilege that I'm part of a meeting which involves 5 clubs, and this is the very first time I will be doing a GE report for 5 clubs. I am more nervous than you, honestly, but I believe something that is very, very important is that evaluation and feedback is something that was stressed upon by Ralph C. Smedley, our founder as well. And it is the breakfast of champions. And aren't we all trying to achieve, to become champions in the future? So let's echo that thought throughout today's meeting. And my role is to give a comprehensive feedback at the very end of each and every aspect of today's session. Things that were the highlight for me, and things that we could make it better to make it the best. I'll try to keep an eye on each one of you, but it's going to be a little bit difficult for me considering that it's a hybrid meeting. Helping me in my task today would be the tag team, the timer, our content grammarian, and they'll be telling you about their roles, what they are called upon. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim. Can you share one life lesson that you learned from the freedom movement?
One thing that I learned from the freedom movement, and I've been reading about the freedom struggle since class 8, the memories of what we studied in class, first and foremost, whenever we hear about it, we have goosebumps about it. Just thinking about it. And then you realize how much was put into the freedom struggle and what exactly our situation of the country is in. I mean, those freedom fighters would have died for us, for our freedom. And today the country is not in such a great contention. Something that I've learned is the never give up attitude that each freedom fighter portrayed throughout the struggle is very, very important. As a leader, that's very important. And that's something that we echo even in Toastmasters. We never give up. We keep on trying and trying as much as possible, striving to achieve our goal, our ultimate mission. And that is the life lesson that I would love to take back and would leave back for everybody today. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Yes, Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim, indeed memorable. Yes, of course, I witnessed your book, Unmasked Semblance. Everyone has to read that book. May I request grammarian Toastmaster Grija Deshpande, VP Education from Eloquent Lights Toastmaster Club, to give the word of the day and explain her role. Back to you, Toastmaster Grija.
Thank you. Thank you. You can see the word of the day behind me. It is strife. That is the noun form is strife, and the verb form is strive. And it is an irregular verb. So for a past tense, it does not take D. We say strove. That is a past tense. Now the synonyms are combat, struggle, conflict. In keeping with the subject, the theme of the day, this is the word of the day. So remember to use the word strife or strive or strove, any one of that in whenever you talk. I request all role players and speakers to try to use it in their speech. Now, as a Toastmaster, my role is not only to give you the word of the day usage, but I will also make a record of who are the people, how many people used it, and then I will present it in the report. The good usages, idioms, phrases, metaphors, similes, proposition phrases, all those will be recorded, and that also will be repeated so that people will remember them. When we listen to a speech, we just absorb the content. But then when separately good usages are presented to you, that is when we recognize them. Then areas of improvement, wherever there are grammatical errors, that also will be pointed out, and pronunciation variations also will be pointed out. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Girija. Can you share one enduring thought from freedom struggle that stays with you?
Yes. I remember the salt satyagraha. That is an enduring movement that stays with me. When it started, there were only 80 people. And then when it ended, there were 1,20,000 people, 24 days, 240 miles, and 1,20,000 people at the end, 60,000 people were arrested. So that shows that when you have your conviction in your principle, then support will automatically happen. This is one huge lesson that I learned from the freedom struggle. Thank you so much. Over to you again.
Indeed memorable. Surely it is a life lesson worth preserving. I request every speaker and role player to use the word of the day. May I request our counter Toastmaster DDM Renos from St. Paul's Toastmaster Club, the significance of his role.
Thank you, Toastmaster Day. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, greetings to all of you. Well, let me just first tell you the purpose of an R counter. The purpose of this R counter, my role is to note the words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause fillers by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, you know, I shall. I will also listen for filler words and sounds like ah. I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or a phrase such as I, or this means, and so forth. At the end of the meeting, when called upon, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions, and it is very helpful for each one of us to grow as an eloquent speaker, and let us strive ourselves to avoid these filler words. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, DDM Renos. What is it that you think we can learn from our freedom fighters' struggle? DDM Renos.
Thank you, Toastmaster Day. Well, in fact, I believe our online Toastmaster Day, Toastmaster Girija, actually picked up the same thing that I was actually having in my mind. So I wonder whether she had the same script that I was. If I was the grammarian, I would have said that first. But I take that into a slightly different way, which was the Salt Satyagraha or the Dundee March, but where the freedom fighters went with a non-violence movement. And what's more important is that our actions speak louder than words. And of course, words are important in communication as well. So it's not that we react to certain things, but how words and actions that we do make a lot. I believe that the flag that we hoist, it wavers not because the wind makes effect, but I believe all those freedom fighters' breath makes that flag move and hover when we hoist it at mast. So I salute all the freedom fighters, no one specifically, but all of them who fought, and that's the reason why we are alive here today and why we have that freedom and that we have in today. Over to you, Toastmaster Day.
Thank you, DDM Renos. sharing your thoughts. Next important role players are our timers. I request offline timer Toastmaster Regina Ismail from our Indian Academy Toastmaster Club to explain how the timer keeps the meeting as per timeline and demonstrates timing for only prepared speeches only. Toastmaster Regina, just timing for only prepared speeches only now. At the same time, I request online timer Toastmaster Fatima Safa from Indian Academy Toastmaster to only demonstrate timing color codes on the Zoom background at the same time. Over to you, Toastmaster Regina Ismail. Only prepared speeches.
Good evening once again. As a timer, it's my responsibility for keeping the track of time during the meeting. My role as timer is to monitoring time during prepared speeches only. And at the end of the meeting, I will report the times of each participant. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Regina Ismail. Could you like to share any thoughts we can learn from our freedom fighters and struggle?
Freedom, that is important to each and every person. And so we will not have
No problem. At times we are lost for words. Regina, that was well done. I would just request you to display the color cards. You didn't demonstrate the color cards. So at the same time, when you're saying that if it is 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and 6 minutes, that you will show green, yellow, and red. Similarly, the online timer also has to demonstrate the time card. So you will have to show it behind when it happens. Right? Please, can you demonstrate how will it look? The online timer, please do that. Yes. When it is for icebreakers, it is 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and 6 minutes. So at the end of 4 minutes, it will be green. Online Toastmaster, please change your virtual background to green. Yes. And when it is 5 minutes, it will be yellow. For icebreakers, please remember, yes. And for 6 minutes, it will become red. Up to 30 seconds, you have got grace period. Otherwise, you will not be included in the voting for the best speaker, but you will not be anyway disqualified or anything. So do not worry about it. Icebreakers, please just speak to your heart's content. Those who are presenting their icebreakers. And the other speakers, it is for 5 to 7 minutes. So again, it will be the green, yellow, and red will be shown at 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and 7 minutes. Yes. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Girija. Take over at right moment. And our offline timer, could you like to share about what is it that you think we can learn from our freedom fighters and struggle? Toastmaster Fatima?
Yes, sure. What comes to my mind, we are all telling about the year 1947 as the year of independence. But what we don't remember is that there was a starting point, a catalyst, something that took place over 200 years before that. 200 or 100, I'm not sure. There was something that happened, an event, the revolt of 1857, exactly if we say. And that was the starting point that is considered as the first war of independence in India. And there were so many leaders, so many freedom fighters like Mangal Pandey and Rani Lakshmi Bai. There were so many. Now that event or uprising wasn't very successful, but eventually we got the freedom. And it is also because of their dedication and their bravery. And I would like to salute them at this moment. We remember them during this moment where we remember the Indian freedom fighters. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, brave Toastmaster Fatima Safa. Superb. Let's move on to prepared speeches. The first two speeches are icebreakers. For the sake of guests, these are the maiden speeches of the Toastmaster in our club. As the objectives for all icebreakers are the same for all paths, I request first speech evaluator Toastmaster Parashar to read out the speech objectives.
Good evening, everybody. You can come there.
Yes.
The purpose of the icebreaker is the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. So from my side, good luck for the first speaker. This will be same implemented to the second speaker.
Yes, sir.
Back.
Thank you, Toastmaster Parashar. A recent Republic Day in India must have awakened some memories from freedom struggle. Can you share anything you think we must learn from the experience?
Yes, DTM Raja, I have not seen the slavery since I born. I have seen the freedom. And whenever a question comes about the slavery, just we feel the shivering. So the time when freedom fighters were fighting for our freedom, I can memorize and I can feel it, how they suffered. But I learned from the freedom fighters only, it is the teamwork. It was the teamwork. As any photo, if you can see the put here photo, this is the teamwork. Whenever, so this is the lesson we can learn from them. Any difficult job can be solved, any difficult can be solved by the team.
Oh,
This is the learning from the freedom fighters.
great, sir. That's inspiring. The first speaker today is Toastmaster Nadarajan. He is from Eloquent Elite Toastmaster. He has chosen the path team collaboration. Toastmaster Harish, be ready. Harish Nadarajan, a glimpse of the tip of the iceberg. A glimpse of the tip of the iceberg. Harish Nadarajan.
When I heard the word icebreaker, I can remember Ernest Hemingway's iceberg theory. Only 1/8 portion of the iceberg is visible above sea level, but what makes it strong is because of what is not seen. Hemingway said, not including all the details is what makes a story strong. This made it clear to me that in 6 minutes, the tip of the iceberg that I managed to demonstrate will itself reveal the underlying strong structure beneath it. Good evening, Toastmasters of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and all other guests. I am Harish Natarajan, and I am born and brought up in Gavelier, Mumbai. I was born in a nuclear family consisting of my parents and a sister. Hard work is something that we strongly believe in, and it has taken us to where we are today. We all might have heard, curiosity kills a cat, but I believe curiosity is what makes us humans. This curiosity of learning how the light works, what happens when I switch on a fan and how it works behind is what motivated me in pursuing science as the field of study. That's when I chose science during my higher secondary education. So I joined a college in Mulund, which is called Vani Vidyalaya, where I went to pursue my higher secondary education. There I met with one of my friends, Hariharan. We had a great gang of people who were closely interested in pursuing Carnatic music. So we formed a music club in our college. So we used to sing a lot of songs and Hariharan would be playing the mridangam for us. Like, the life was beautiful there and we didn't know how time flies by. We used to discuss about ragas, varnas and sing lot of songs and then compete in inter-college level music competition as well. After completing my higher secondary education, I moved on to pursue my Bachelor of Engineering in Information Technology. That's when he came into my life. On the first day of my college, he came to me asking what time it was. But little did we know that from knowing what time it is to not caring what the time is, our friendship would grow so thick. And that is Derek. we used to discuss a lot about the future, how we can build things that would be beneficial for the society. And this motivated us in pursuing artificial intelligence as the field of study. A friend is one who knows you as you are, understands where you're being, accepts what you've become, and still gently allows you to grow. I experienced this while we were learning artificial intelligence together. That's when my life changed completely. We got an opportunity from Government of India called as Manthan National Security Hackathon, which was conducted by AICT and Bureau of Police Research and Development. This was purely a life-changing opportunity for us. The problem statement which we got was face recognition at varied angles in live CCTV footage. I led a team of 3 people to this hackathon. It was a continuous 36 hours coding hackathon where we had to build a solution for this problem. We strove hard to build a solution, and finally we built a prototype which was presented before the evaluators. So they suggested some changes and we presented it to them. The learning which I had for AI, like I referred a lot of online courses from Coursera, Udemy, and other online sources. So this helped me a lot in developing this prototype, and finally we won the national level hackathon. After winning the hackathon, I got a job offer from one of the startup companies in Delhi called as Aftershow. There I worked for 9 months as a computer vision developer. I got a lot of more things to learn apart from the things which are taught in courses. I got a lot of hands-on stuff to do as well. Moving on, I recently got another job offer from a Bangalore-based startup company as a data scientist, where I'm currently working. I would love to improvise my leadership skill and become a good speaker, and that's what motivated me in joining Toastmasters. Thank you.
Distinguished Toastmaster. Distinguished Toastmaster Raja, can you just check the audio? I'm not able to hear.
I think you've got to unmute yourself.
Sorry for kids. Thank you, DTM Renosh. And yeah, we are our next speakers on the way. So we will move on. Third speaker. Third speaker is Toastmaster Muhammad Amar Arafat from Alexandra Toastmaster Club, all the way from Egypt. Pathway Presentation Mastery. He is at level 2. He is presenting project Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. His speech evaluator is Toastmaster Nasha Sawsan from Indian Academy Toastmasters Club. Please, Toastmaster Nasha, can you read out the speech objectives?
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Good evening, everyone. So the objectives are: the purpose of this project is for the mentor to clearly define how Toastmaster envision mentoring. The purpose of this speech is for the mentor to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. I wish my speaker all the best, and back to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nasha. Could you like to share today's theme?
Okay. Good evening once again. Okay. More than learning, I admire freedom fighter Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel because he was an Indian lawyer, influential political leader, barrister, and statesman who serves as first Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister of India from 1947 to 1950. In future, I also want to be a lawyer like him. And back to you, Master of Ceremony.
Yes. We wish you all the best for your lawyer journey. Thank you, Toastmaster Nashra. Now, to the prepared speech by third speaker of the day, Mohammad Amar Arafat, the value of mentor. The value of mentor, Mohammad Amar Arafat. Over to you, Mohammad.
We've all had mentors in our lives, but how valuable were they for us to thrive? But before anything, we need to get a definition of what mentorship it really is. So, mentorship is an invaluable tool for personal and professional growth. It is a relationship between two people. Typically, one is more experienced than the other. The mentor is almost definitely more experienced than the mentee, in which the mentor provides guidance, advice, and support to the mentee to help. And mentorship can take many forms. From the initial conversation, it could be a one-time event or an ongoing, long-lasting relationship. Regardless of which way, mentorship has been proven to have a positive impact on both parties involved. Let's digest more from each party's perspective. From the mentee's perspective, the mentorship provides access to knowledge and experience that may not have had otherwise. Another point of view he might have never seen before. The mentor can provide deep insight into their own experiences and expertise and help guide the mentee through difficult decisions and challenging situations. The mentor can help his mentee thrive through difficult times. Mentees also benefit from having someone to talk to who can offer their unbiased advice and support them through their hard strive to reach their utmost potential, to reach their goals. But from the mentor's perspective, mentorship provides an opportunity to give back. It's a bit altruistic, if we might say. Give back by sharing their knowledge and experiences with others. It allows them to stay connected with their industry or field of expertise. The mentor have gone higher up the ranks. He forgot what the newcomers are doing nowadays. Field of industry while helping the mentee grow professionally, geometrically. Mentors oftentimes find that they gain as much as the mentee, that they have missed out on some things that are new that the mentee has recently found out. Mentors often find that it is a mutually beneficial relationship. It's not a one-sided thing from the mentor to the mentee. No, the mentee also gives back and helps also the mentor thrive. They're able to reflect. The mentor is able to reflect their own experiences while learning from those of their mentee as well. Unfortunately, sometimes that the mentee I apologize, the mentor acts as a crutch that the mentee leans on. The mentee thinks he's progressing, but he's simply asking questions, and he's simply asking questions to his mentor and simply not doing what he has to do. And it's an ongoing conversation, and it's simply an objective. Then, and while communicating with his mentor, he's going off the rails. But overall, mentorship is a powerful tool for personal and professional growth that benefits both parties involved, and it is an opportunity for mentors to share their knowledge and experience while helping others through their strive and to reach their goals, for mentees to gain access to valuable resources that would otherwise be unavailable. And let me just end by saying that you've all mentioned freedom fighters. Those freedom fighters probably had mentees. They were mentees one day, and what would the mentors, the freedom fighters, look at their mentees? Would they be proud of their mentees? Would they be ashamed of them? I like to believe that they would be proud of their mentees, and this mentor-mentee relationship is an invaluable tool for success. And thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Toastmaster Mohammed. Today you touched our team, freedom fighters, as a value of mentor. I could like to ask only one question, because you shared your mentor value. So who is your mentor?
My mentor is from my same Toastmasters Club in Alexandria, is Dr. Nisreen. Wow. She helped me rise through the ranks very quickly.
Wow, great. Thank you, Toastmaster Mohammed Ahmad. That was indeed. Now we move on our fourth speaker. Everyone waiting for her speech. Rusby Bashir is that from Indian Academy Toastmasters Club, is pursuing path innovative planning. She is at level 1, project 3. I invite our Toastmasters Sherin and Matthew, St. Paul Toastmasters to share a speech objectives. Over to you, Sherin. Toastmaster Sherin.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Raja. My speaker is attempting level 1, project 3. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. Timer, please note the timing of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. I wish Toastmaster Rusby all the best for her speech. Thank you, and over to Toastmaster of the Day.
Toastmaster Sherin, thank you very much. Can you share an unforgettable lesson that you learned from Freedom Struggle?
Sure. Thank you. Something that, in my perspective, I would like to share is the patriotism, the strife that each of the Indian epitomes or the Indian freedom fighters had towards the country, which made them to carelessly fight for India to have a better future, marks history. And I believe that their josh to achieve the ultimate goal of freedom is something inspiring. Same way, if we strive to achieve something in life, nothing is impossible. Thank you, and over to the Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sherin. Wonderful. Now, Toastmaster Rusby Bashir, her speech title is Pathway to Success. Pathway to Success, Toastmaster Rusby Bashir. Over to you, Toastmaster Rusby.
What is your ambition? Was a question I had to frequently face during my school days. Born in a family who considers education to be the top priority, my grandparents and parents wanted me to be a doctor, of course, Asian parents' household things. And since I was a girl of indifference, I was fine with it. I wanted to become an oncologist to treat cancer patients. I've seen this dream of building a resort kind of center for patients. I'd name it Hope, with meditation rooms, courtyards, gardens, with light music every time. A place where it resembles nothing like a treatment center. And if I started describing that center, it would take the whole meeting. Fast forwarding time, here I am, stubbing on to my last year of architectural studies and Bachelor's of Art in English. Thank you, Master of Ceremony, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Good evening to you all. It was during the process of my NEET National Eligibility Cum Entrance Text exams that I realized it wasn't the idea of being a doctor that I was excited about, but it was more about the architecture, the organization of space, the setting up of the whole ambience that I was excited about. And here I am. I may not have enrolled for what my family dreamt, or in fact, I myself I hadn't thought of architecture as an ambition. But then trust me, when you put your heart into anything, wonders happen. What is success? Success means different things to different people. For many, success means being rich, having the best houses, cars, and all the fancy things in the world. For many others, it means having status and power, someone to be famous and to be recognized world over. But does gaining money, assets, and fame make one happier? Does it assure one peace of mind? Moreover, what is success if not peace and happiness? Even if we make a lot of money, we find that there are many others richer than we are. If we gain status and get into the inner circle of the society, we find that there are smaller circles within it that enjoy more power and fame than we do. Once we realize this, we will go all out to gain more money and more time. And the more we get, the more we end up on the treadmill of life, which will not take us to the frontiers, even if we try our very best. Finally, we slip down, tired and beaten. Lying there in our sunset years is when we will realize that our definition of success was all wrong and will wish for one more chance to start afresh. But then it'll be too late. If money and fame brought happiness, why are there so many celebrities who are depressed? Why are there so many millionaires who are into drugs and alcohol or committing suicide? Isn't it obvious that the path to mountain peaks of success and happiness is different? Then who are successful? They are those who get a chance to follow their talent, those who are passionate about something and who are doing what they love, those who are doing things that make a difference in the lives of others, find ultimate peace and happiness. It is when you use the faculties given to you by Providence in the service of others that your life becomes meaningful. Why do we adulate and revere Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Mother Teresa? They were far from being rich, yet they are respected and they're immensely powerful. Why is that the generosity and wisdom of Ashoka has outlived the magnificence of Ashoka the warrior king? Why is it that when the rich and the famous is forgotten, selfless souls who strive to reach out to others live on forever? The billionaire Bill Gates will surely leave a legacy, not for building a successful company, but for using his fortune to help the needy. We must revisit our ambitions. Let us become doctors who will save the ones in pain. Let us become engineers who will build homes for the needy, chefs who will feed the hungry, journalists who will speak the truth. It is the significance of what we do that gives us relevance. Let's all strive to use our abilities and talents to solve at least one problem that this world has. And in that journey, make this world a little better than how it was when we were born. The famous author Robin Sharma asks, who will cry when you die? Let me rephrase that into, who will remember you and pray for you when you die? And if we lead our lives trying to answer this question, then success will automatically come to us. Our lives will become richer, and we will be able to leave this world without any regrets. Have you heard of Meraki? It is a Greek word which describes an approach to doing things with passion, with all the heart. Meraki, which literally means essence of ourselves, the actual translation represents a concept that cannot be translated in one word, but it means something done with one's soul and creativity, effort, and a lot of love. It is often used to describe the way a home is decorated, or to prepare a good lunch, or to do anything you put your soul into. It's a personal and creative touch that makes the actions performed special and unique. I believe instead of working just using rationality, adding heart or Meraki in whatever you do is where success lies. Thank you, and over to you, Master of Ceremony.
Wow, what an amazing speech. Yes, our amazing evaluators will come. The fifth speaker is Gavelier, Alka and Thomas. She is on par, competent communication for Gaveliers at level 3. She is at present doing the project. Get to the point. May I request evaluator Merin D. Gibi from St. Paul's Gavelier Club to read speech objectives.
Good evening, Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, respected guests, and my fellow Gaveliers. I'm Merin Gibi, the evaluator of the fifth speaker, Alka Ann. She's doing her project 3 of competent communication. Her title is Fall Before You Fly. Her objectives are to select a topic and determine its general and specific purposes, to organize a speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes, to ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion, reinforce the purposes, project sincerity and connection, and control any nervousness you may feel, and also strive not to use notes. Timer, please note that the timing is 5 to 7 minutes. So I give my speaker best wishes. Alka, over to you.
Gavelier Merin Gibi, what is the one memorable lesson that you learned from about freedom movement?
I think it's unity. All of them together, and they do it together. They never fight with each other. The thing Fatima, Toastmaster Fatima told, the revolt of 1857. At that time, the main cause of the downfall of that revolt was that small groups like Mughal Empire were separated into small groups, 6 and all. So they were fighting against each other, that some wanted to establish Muslim rule, some wanted to establish Hindu rule, etc. So that's why they were fighting each other. That's why the revolt of 1857 was a failure. So, but the real ones, the freedom fighters who did the role perfectly with teamwork, succeeded, and they were able to gain us freedom. So I think unity is the
Great. Gavelier. Our speaker Alka and Thomas ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Alka and Thomas, fall before you fly. Fall before you fly, Alka and Thomas.
Respected distinguished Toastmasters, coordinators, guests, and almighty Gaveliers. A warm good evening to one and all. When you dream of a perfect life, you always hope that you will be happy forever, that things will always go the way you want. Your dream of accomplishing whatever you want. Your dream of having a successful career and a healthy relationship. Sometimes you try your best, but you simply don't succeed as much as you want to. Sometimes your best is not the enough and you get angry at yourself. But it's totally okay. Now, let me share an personal experience. Go ahead, look at your friend, don't worry, and do not turn around. Okay, but please don't let go of my hand. Please, Papa. With that, I moved forward. He let go of my hand and I fell down. I was 7 years old when, for the very first time, I saw a skateboard. It was a board with wheels in it. I was so amazed. I went to my mom and asked, "Ma, can I please have the skateboard?" She replied, "No way, you don't know how to skate. What if you fall down?" I kept making faces until she finally agreed and bought me that skateboard. I was really happy and excited. Me and my father rushed up to the terrace, and I was on the skateboard when I lost my balance and hold a grab of my father's hand and refused to let go of it. Do you know what did my father do? He let go of my hand and I fell down. I was so angry and looked at my father, kept my hands on my hips and asked, "Why did you let go of my hand? See, I'm so hurt. Did you want me to fall?" He replied softly, "I am so sorry, but tell me, those 30 seconds that you were skating, didn't it feel like flying?" Oh, yes, it did feel like flying. That's it. Sometimes you have to fall before you fly. The 7-year-old me neither understood nor accepted his words. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I understood what my father was talking about. He didn't let go of my hand that day. He pushed me from my comfort zone so that he can see me flying. Dear Gaveliers, when you start flying, you can fall, and again fall until you finally learn how to fly. Now, when I fall down, I get back up, dust myself off, and start all over again. Now, I would like to conclude my speech with a quote. You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. Quoted by Maya Angelou. MC.
Wow. Feel like flying. Thank you, Gavelier, Merenjevi, Alka, and Thomas. Yes. We'll move on our second speaker of the day. Next icebreaker will be presented by Toastmaster Anand Soni. He has chosen the path leadership development. I request Toastmaster Girish Mittal from online, his speech evaluator, to share what is a speech evaluator. Yeah. Over to you, sir.
Okay, my speaker Anand is attempting his icebreaker, which is essentially his first speech in Toastmasters. The objective is very simple: to introduce himself to the club and to the august audience present here today. His timing is 4 to 6 minutes. All the best, Anand, and welcome to this journey.
Thank you, dear Toastmaster. Thank you, Girish, Toastmaster Girish Mittal, for the speech objectives. And our speech, Toastmaster Anand Soni speech title, Self-Analysis and Self-Motivation. Speaker Anand Soni. Back to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. All distinguished Toastmasters present with me and with me online. I'm really thankful to all of you for joining me for today's evening. In our life, every day we come across the different incidents. Some of the incidents, they give us the lesson, same. Some of the other incidents, we wait for the lesson. Do you remember today something happened in your life and you are thinking that why it's happened with me? I hope that most of us, we come across several such type of activities. This thing moved me to come to my topic, self-analysis and self-motivation. But before that, I would like to introduce myself once again in front of all of you. Myself is Anand Soni, Toastmaster Anand Soni. I started my career almost 20 years back, born and brought up in a small town, surrounded with the national and international borders. I come across the life where every day some international things are going on. My born and brought up is just 14 kilometers far from the international line. So how much stress people are going there every day in their life, you can assume. Because most of the time when we see something on the news, oh my God, this thing is happening, that thing is happening. Every such moment I live in my life. I lived the moment of 99 when there was a Kargil war. The people who are staying near the international line, they have to come across all these things which are not going on the TV screen, which are the part of their life. That's why they call it the second defense line of the country. But that is not my topic. My topic is self-analysis and self-motivation. I studied that every day we come across the several activities, and most of the activities force us to think that why these things happen as something. Immediately you better realize that I crossed the red light, that's why I got this point. But some of the time, when you fall sick, you will analyze why this thing is happening with me. What's the reason that I'm getting fall sick? Several times. Two reasons can be possible. One of the reasons I think that all the persons who are present here and my friends who are with me online, most of you are very familiar. I didn't took my food, there is a food poison. I went inside some climate that may be impacting on me, right? But I will tell you one of the incidents which I come across in my life that forced me that whenever some adverse situations come, I need to do the analysis why this thing is happening with me. This incident, when I was a part of one university, I was working there, subordinating to the finance department, and my role was whatever the finance comes, I need to report that thing without financial controller. In between, one day there was a small transactions to place, and I was not knowing that how to report that one. When I went to the finance controller, he asked me that I should keep that money with me because there was nothing mentioned. I kept that money in my pocket. Immediately, I realized that the day evening I was suffering with a fever, and that money I kept almost 1 week with me. And I realized that whatever the impact I'm getting on my health, that definitely is because of the money, which is not relating to me. That money is not my earned money. When I realized this, when I did that analysis, I went and returned that money immediately. I told that
This is not my job to keep this money. You have to settle it down. That how you settle it down, it's none of my headache. You will believe or not, the next day onward, I was getting well and well and well. In my life, I come across with several times some of the motivations things. Because no one else can motivate you better when you are taking some decision except you. Either in this incident that you are identifying, this is not my money, I need to return it. Or anywhere when you think that I need the motivations, you are the best motivator. No court can motivate you except your own thinking. In our body, we need the two kinds of food. One food which will fulfill your stomach. Please excuse me. One food which will fulfill your stomach and give you the muscle energy. The another thing which will help you to feed your mind, that is reading, the people, sitting with your elders. I think that thing will really help you when you are in the difficult situation, when you need the push to motivate yourself. So always spare little time, stay with the living libraries in your family, find out some elders, stay with them. It will really help you. And whenever you are in the difficult situation, you will find out the way how to motivate myself. And there only you will identify how can you analyze your own deeds. So with this only, I will try to conclude my topic, that try to identify the living libraries in your surrounding, spare your time with those people. You will feel at the day that you are doing something really meaningful in your life. Thank you, all of you. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Wow, what a motivation. Great. Very good. Today, really motivated. And I request all audience, our Gavelier did not reach 5 minutes on her speech. Please request all to consider, if you can consider her for the polls for raising hands. The first speech. DTM Renosh, I think, yeah, we can go ahead. Speech eligible. I request offline timer Toastmaster Regina Ismail to inform us to everyone qualified for voting. Voting done, yeah. Is our Toastmaster offline Toastmaster Regina already agreed for voting? I request the online timer Toastmaster Fatima Safa to post on the chat timing taken by each speaker. I request the polls to be launched for the best speaker.
So
Yeah, you can. Polls, best speaker. DTM Renosh, I think we are seeing your poll. Can you remove the host? We are seeing your results.
Toastmaster Girija, if you can remove the co-host from Raja MS.
And also from me also.
And from our presiding officer as well.
No, we have to write this speaker. Only best speaker.
DTM Renosh, I think we can see all of the options, like the auxiliary role player, and every option instead of just the speakers for the polls.
Toastmaster Girija, you're on mute.
Yes, you can see Well, you can vote only for the best speaker, I suppose. I don't know how come all are launching together, but only the best speaker you have got to vote, not the rest of it. I do not know others. Please do not vote for others. I can see other things also people are voting.
Yeah, but we cannot submit with if we don't select all are required answers.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I will make the poll again. You can continue. Now we can close the poll. I'll make the poll again. Yeah.
So we can do the poll
at the end.
when or at the end when everything is done.
Yes. Yes.
Is that okay?
That's okay. Yeah. So we'll close it now. Yeah.
Our next team mode is ready. Then I can. Yeah, we could like to say our 11 audiences are in physical meeting. So offline altogether 24. 35 participants in this joint meeting. Wow, really great, grand success from all over the world. They connected India, Egypt, Bahrain, Saudi, Kuwait, Dubai.
Chicago.
We also had Canada as well.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, yes. Our team is from Canada.
Canada and US as well.
Yes.
TM Modi, where is in Canada?
Canada.
Which place? Mr. Modi, where you are? Which place in Canada?
Toastmaster Girija is from US.
I'm in Chicago. So.
Yeah, Canada from our Toastmaster Ginny Johara. DTM Ginny Johara.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. Let's go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Now, our second part, hand over to the floor to the online Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Girija Deshpande, to take the meeting head. Over to you, Toastmaster Girija Deshpande.
Thank you, my dear partner, Toastmaster of the day, distinguished Toastmaster Raja Manikam. It was a wonderful feeling listening to you. What is the one sustaining value that you imbibe from an Indian freedom fighter or Indian freedom struggle? You were asking everybody, but I would like to know what is the take that you have got.
Thank you, TM Modi, Toastmaster Girija. Yes, I could like to say one or three. Now, because we cannot mention anyone, because all the rockstar speakers already mentioned everything, what challenges, what the campaign again. First, I could like to say there is this decision-making required courage, determination, and perseverance. These three must to run the show, run the campaign. Without social media, our freedom fighters did everything. How they created awareness of the freedom, independence to all the peoples by the walk, by the writing the writers, how our G, Toastmaster Zara Ibrahim writing the right, Wyatt, everything. But now everything is there. So we have to take the courage to establish the Toastmaster awareness who are not ready to speak. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Lovely. You connected the freedom struggle and from there the learnings to Toastmasters. Amazing. Now over to the next session. That is Leah Annie Biju, just 14 years old, student at the Citadel Residential School, Ranni. Her hobbies are drawing, singing, doing yoga and cycling, and she is the table topic master of the day. I hand it over to her to conduct the next session. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Girija. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, Gaveliers, and guests. I, Gavelier Leah, will be the table topic master for the meeting. The purpose of the table topic master is to facilitate table topics where guests and members will have the opportunity to practice their impromptu speaking. I will introduce a topic and call on the speakers who will be given 2 minutes to speak on the topic. Now, before we move on to the actual topics, I would like to call upon the timers to give the timing criteria. Over to you.
Shall I move on with the timing criteria?
Yes, yes.
Your timer. Okay. So table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. and their remarks should not be more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute 30 seconds, yellow card, and red card at 2 minutes. Let's strive to maintain this, and over to you, to Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Taima, for sharing the timing criteria. Now, with the formalities aside, let us move on to the actual fun. So just give me a second and I'll just share PPT. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, the timer also needs to be visible. So yes, I can see her now. Yes. Go ahead.
All right, so do we have any volunteers? So first volunteer, dear Toastmaster Farooq.
Yes, Table Topic Master.
Kindly choose a color: green, white, orange, yellow, blue, and brown.
I'll choose blue, please.
Blue. So the topic for you is, if you were a leader who fought for the freedom of India, what would you have done differently? If you were a leader who fought for the freedom of India, what would you have done differently? Over to you.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. What a wonderful question that is, and a thought-provoking question that is. First of all, let me say something about our freedom fighters. They selflessly strove to remove us from the strife of oppression and injustice so that we could be leaders and strive to be leaders of our own destiny. And each of these leaders had a different perspective. But the common perspective for all of them that united all of them was the selflessness and the thought for the future generation. So what would I have done differently? I don't know. The differences would have melted away in the commonality and the unity of our thought for the future generation. So whatever may I have done personally, believe me, history would have forgotten that and remembered only that we were united in a common theme and have achieved our goal, not for ourselves, but for the future generation, which is again all of us in the coming generations. So, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, do not let this sacrifice go in vain and strive to live to the ideals of those great leaders who strove for us and removed us from the strife of injustice and oppression. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Farooq, for such a wonderful answer. Now, I'll just share the screen again. Any other volunteers? Do tell if anyone is offline, for I cannot see.
Yes. Sir, you can participate.
Online, I'm here. You can take me and then yeah, we can decide. Let's not waste time. I'm here, Girija.
So, Toastmaster Girija?
Yes.
All right. Toastmaster Girija, please choose a color. Now we have green, white, orange,
green.
Yellow, and brown.
Green. Yeah.
Green. So, the topic for you is,
yes.
Today, we are independently interdependent. Do you agree? Today, we are independently interdependent. Do you agree? Over to you.
This is the greatest truth, not just today, but every day. So, Mahatma Gandhi was pushed off the train in South Africa. At the time, he realized that people in India are also undergoing similar stress and are under slavery. That is when the thought came to him that I have got to go back to India and I have to serve the country and bring about fight for freedom struggle. We are emotionally interdependent. We may be independent as far as our thoughts are concerned, actions are concerned, but because we are emotionally linked to each other, we have a sense of responsibility. We have a sense of belonging. We belong to a family, we belong to a group, we belong to an organization that makes us work with a sense of responsibility. We take ownership. And another important thing that we need to realize is when I do something, it is not that I may be financially independent, but I need the support of other people to go along with me. Whoever the greatest leaders in the world, if they don't get support, there are people who have lost by a single vote the opportunity to lead a team, Vajpayee himself. So this has happened in our history. We are all dependent on each other. Earlier we recognize this, the quicker our responsibility and response towards the society. We'll be more affectionate. We'll strive to bring the people together, and we will see to it that people understand what we want to communicate. We may have the noblest of ideals, but if we do not communicate it well, people are not going to respond to it. It is very important that we take people along. A leader who does not take people along cannot take the society ahead, whether it is a small family or an organization. Anyone may be having the best of talent. That doesn't help if you do not take people along. That is why emotional intelligence is as important as intellectual abilities. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Girija, for such a wonderful answer. Now we have Mr. Could you please name? I'm not sure.
Romy.
Sorry.
Yeah, Toastmaster Romy, our next guest, next table topic speaker from physical audience.
He's our past president of the AIM Club.
Table topic master, I'll just repeat, it is Toastmaster Romy, who is the past president of AIM's Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, DTM and Ranoj, for clarifying the name once again. Past president, Toastmaster Romy. Let me just share my screen. Kindly choose the colors except for green and blue.
Yeah, color yellow, please.
Yellow. Okay. What comes to your mind when you hear the word freedom? Toastmaster Romy, the topic for you is, what comes to your mind when you hear the word freedom? Over to you.
Yes, I'm free. I can do everything. I can sleep. I can eat well. Nobody can control me. Table topic master, my fellow Toastmasters, and guys, good evening. The first comes in my mind is nobody will control whatever I will do. That's freedom. Freedom is given to all the people. And we have freedom. Each people have freedom to think, and this freedom given to all of us. We have to enjoy it. But remember, my fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, whatever excess, whatever over in our limits, it is not good. Freedom in such a way that you should know your limit, and it is always doing well. It is always good to have the freedom in your heart, the willingness in your mind and in heart, and of course you can give the suggestion. You can give whatever you want to share with other people. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Toastmaster, how about you? What comes in your mind about freedom? Are you okay for that? Or you want more to explore what is freedom in your life? Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, past president Toastmaster Romy. Now, I saw DTM Nachpalli. Yes, could you please unmute yourself?
Am I loud and clear?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are now audible. Let me just share my slides. Just a moment. All right. Choose a color, any color. Except for green, blue, and yellow.
Orange. Orange.
Orange. Okay. The topic for you is, if you could change the colors of the Indian flag, what colors would you choose and why? If you could change the colors of the Indian flag, what colors would you choose and why? Over to you.
Fellow Toastmasters, I agree with the topic given to me. What colors would I choose? If you'd have asked me what color is favorite for you, perhaps my answer would be orange. But since the release of Pathan, I'm not going to talk about that orange. White is a favorite color. You know why? Peace. May peace prevail on everybody. The people who are living now, the people who have passed away. How many of you, raise your hands, wish may his soul rest in peace? I'm sure everybody, right? So freedom, the right to people, the right to voice against the atrocities. Are we not facing the problems? Poverty, climate change, beyond that, injustice to the girl child. To me, what comes to my mind today with this color, among the trial color, the white, peace, people, our environment, our attributes. Do you have that commitment in you to embrace, empower those around us, to uplift? Who are underprivileged? Do not show your accomplishments for those who are not even seen. Do not show your pride for those who don't know what is happiness because they have never seen what is happiness. Maybe because of economical uncertainty. So to me, if you can, sow a seed for better tomorrow. What I meant to say, sow a seed, the seed of grace, the seed of gratitude, the seed of giving hand to someone who is in need. Topic Master, may peace be prevailed on this planet Earth. Over to you.
Thank you so much to DTM Natpally for that wonderful speech. With that, we have come to the end of the table topic session. Now I hand over the control to Toastmaster Girija and in the online for the polls and DTM Raja for the ballots in offline. Thank you, and over to you back, TM Modi, Toastmaster Girija.
Yes. Thank you for a wonderful Toastmaster session. The topics were very beautiful. And before you go back, what is the one lesson that you learned from Indian freedom fighters or freedom struggle? Very brief answer.
I think one of the things that I learned from one of the freedom fighters, that is the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi himself, was forgiveness. Yes. Because he has gone through so much. He was beaten, he was thrown into jail, but never once has he ever taken an action or taken revenge or acted upon his anger. He always forgave and listened and always was kind to others, no matter what the circumstance may be. So the one thing that we all have to listen to or put into our lives or implement more or strive for is forgiveness. Thank you, and back to you, PM Modi.
Thank you. Now we move on to the next session quickly. We have the general evaluator for the day. She's an aspiring biomedical engineer, writer, reader, educator, and dreamer. She started a journey in the Toastmasters circuit at the age of 11, as we already heard, and she's here today. She believes to speak is to influence, and to influence to become creators of change, and that is what one should strive to achieve. This is Sarah Ibrahim for you. Over to you, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Sarah Ibrahim, to conduct the evaluation session.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Girija. Let's quickly go into the evaluations because I'm very much interested to hear what the evaluators say and whether we are matching thoughts on what we thought about the speakers. So our first evaluator for today, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Parashar to please evaluate Toastmaster Harish's speech.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Good evening. Icebreaker speech. Speaker has the opportunity to tell about his introduction, about his hobbies, and about his any special thing to the audience whom he doesn't know, and audience also they don't know him. So our target speaker, Mr. Harish Natarajan, you have spoken well and you have delivered your speech very confidently and all the purposes are fulfilled. Every speech has the three elements. One is the opening, body, and the conclusion. In the opening, my target speaker is started by explaining what is the icebreaker. Then he told that he born in Borivali, Bombay. Then he entered into the body by telling that in the higher secondary, then he opened the musical club, his hobby bars, and he became the hero on the music. Then he came to his profession and he concluded by explaining that how he changed his life when he entered into the artificial intelligence. By this, you all fulfill the objective and your icebreaker is completed. So good luck to you. This is the I congratulate you. But there is always space for the improvement. Mr. Harish Natarajan, from my experience, and this is the very personal experience, you have broke the stage, there is no doubt. Everybody liked your story and you grabbed the audience. Everybody was listening to you. But I have the two suggestions for you. If you can apply in the next story, you can make your good story to the great story. My two suggestions, one I saw on all the way in Toastmaster, in ice breaking, you are allowed to read the notes even if you don't remember. So first thing, instead of sitting, if you could have stand on the stage, that would have affected more because people, all audience can see your gesture and you can make more effective in your stories. This is the one. Second is, you spoken only, I think, 3 minutes or 30 seconds. Although we have the 3 to 6 minutes, you should have given the more information about yourself, about your family status, about your friends. So people, audience will come to know because this was the first time we met you. That's all. Otherwise, we love your story. It was very good. Good luck to you. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Parishar. And I am not surprised. I do agree with your evaluator, Toastmaster Harish. And you should definitely follow up. One thing that I think we missed out on was, as an icebreaker, we always give a standing ovation to the person who does his icebreaker. It's a ritual in Toastmasters. Thank you for the offline attendees on following it up. I will not be able to do that, so I salute to you, Toastmaster Harish, for completing your icebreaker. Commendable job done. Please keep doing what you're doing, and that's how your journey continues. All the best. Let's move on to our second speaker, who was yet again another icebreaker, Toastmaster Anand Soni. Can I call upon Toastmaster Girish to provide his evaluation?
Thank you, General Evaluator. As already mentioned, my target speaker, Anand Soni, attempted his icebreaker. As already spoken by the previous evaluator, icebreaker is an attempt to introduce yourself to the audience. You are new to the audience and audience is new to you. So essentially, it is an introductory speech in the Toastmaster, and the speaker is expected to be a little nervous. He is expected to fumble a little, but the speaker, Anand Soni, came on like an opening batsman. In the olden days, I would have said like Virendra Sehwag, or in these days we talk about Sky, Surya Kumar Yadav. He came, he started with bang, and he spoke like a pro. He spoke like a professional speaker. He gave a kind of a motivational speech. He mentioned about Kargil war, his experiences around Kargil war, essentially his experiences around the international border. Uh, his hand gestures were good. His eye contact was very good. I mean, he was trying to keep an eye contact with both online as well as with offline audience. But he took time to come to his topic, which he selected, that is self-analysis and self-motivation. But he interlaced his topic with some personal experiences and how we are working in an organization. He had kept some money, in which affected his health, and how it giving back that money improved his health. So from all those perspectives, his speech was very good. It had all the essential elements of good speech. But the speech was an icebreaker speech. It was the speaker was required to introduce himself to the audience. The only 2 words of introduction I can remember now is regarding his experience with Kargil war and his 20 years in the work experience of 20 years. So I believe Anand should repeat the icebreaker. It should be more of an introductory speech rather than a motivation speech. And I know he's a very good speech. He's a very good speaker, but just ticking up the few boxes correctly would take him further on his Toastmaster journey. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Girish. Toastmaster Anand, I do agree with your evaluator on that sense. And honestly speaking, something that I noticed for an icebreaker, you were very enthusiastic, because what happens is the first time you do it, you're nervous. But the number of times you have done your icebreaker when it comes to other paths that you're pursuing in your Toastmaster journey, you kind of get bored about talking about yourself, even though it's something that is the easiest thing to do, but we find it a little bit difficult at first. But all the best. Talk to your evaluator maybe after the meeting, if you can get in touch with him, and get in touch with your mentor. Try to see what you can make changes in here. Talk about yourself. We want to know you and what exactly brought you here, how exactly you are moving ahead, what are all the things that it involves you and you completely. It's all about you. So once again, I would request the audience, the online, you can do this, but I would request all the offline attendees to please stand up and give him a standing ovation for doing his icebreaker. DTM Ranosh being DTM Ranosh standing for all of us here in the could not stand up right now. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anand. Let's move on to our third speaker, Toastmaster Mohammed Amar Arafat, who is here from Egypt, all the way from Egypt. He's here connected with us, and he did his level 2 project. We have Madam Lawyer, Toastmaster Nasha, going to be evaluating him. Please, Toastmaster Nasha.
Thank you, General Value.
As a mentee, which is very, very important, which gives us an insight as to how you are as a mentee and how do you adapt to mentors in particular. Very important, because then once you start mentoring people, you will see you will be on the other side of the screen. So you will see things a little bit more differently. Your perspective will change. So that's for you as such, the speech, it takes you back. Other than that, I believe you have a long way to go and you will do really, really well. I see a great journey in Toastmasters, and I look forward to hearing your speech about you mentoring. Whenever I'm there in Egypt, I'll definitely look forward to hearing your speech. Let's come up to the next speaker, Toastmaster Rusby, who approached me for the GE role, and I had warned her not to take me as the GE, but she did not listen to me. Let me call upon her evaluator, Toastmaster Sharon. Please, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening, Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Let me start by appreciating Toastmaster Rusby for delivering her speech promptly and confidently. The way you presented yourself with poise, just loved it. Let me brief some things which I loved about your speech. First of all, good structuring. It was very clear and you touched every aspect relating to success, including your personal life story. Very well job on that. Secondly, appropriate usage of pause. After asking the questions, I noticed that you paused for us to think about an answer, which is a very good practice while delivering the speech. I noticed that the key message was completely aligned with the content of the speech. Does success mean being rich? You gave us examples of people who were poor in terms of money, but rich in determination and hard work, which are the keys to success. You ended with a very thoughtful message about Meraki, something done with one soul and undivided attention to achieve targets. Let me point out some things that you could have worked on a little bit. Firstly, the title, Pathway to Success. It was apt for the content of the speech, but you could have used something more dramatic, something which gives us an urge to know what can be the content of the speech, like using a question or an exclamatory phrase. Second thing on which you could work on is your vocal variety. Your speech was very influential, but it could have really painted a picture to us if more of body language and vocal variety was used. For example, when you started the speech, what is the ambition in your life? Is the question frequently asked to me, so on and so forth. Like another one would be, what is success? Like you could stress on the questions which were being asked by you so that you could grab the attention of the audience. Lastly, the stage usage. I would have been more impressed if you had stood up and delivered the message so that more of your gestures and body language was visible. Just sum it up, good things which I loved about your speech: good structuring, appropriate use of pause, key message, the things that you could work on, the title, vocal variety, and stage usage. I wish Toastmaster Rusby the very best for your future speeches. And to wrap it up, let us all give another round of applause, which the speech deserves. Very good. Thank you, and over to the General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sharon. So I do not need to do any evaluation because Toastmaster Sharon nailed it with her evaluation. Great job. And I really love, because I've heard about success in so many different speeches. It keeps reiterating by different people. But I like how you took it with a different perspective altogether, and that's very, very important. An idea which is original in comparison to the rest of the world talking about it. So that's very important, something that I wanted to highlight. Other than go with what your evaluator said. She is right, and you will do very well. And someone who took me down memory lane today, the last speaker, me being an ex-Gavelier, for me, it was like, nostalgia, because the project reminded me of the speech that I had done when I was 12 years old. Can I call upon Gavelier Merin to please evaluate Gavelier Alka's speech? For the offline meeting, the mic is muted. TTM. Yeah, thank you.
I've known her I've been hearing her for quite some time, and I've seen her give speeches, and I think this was a very good one, and the matter was the best. So let me state some of your best points. You started with a good thought and a nice introduction. The next thing I liked was you used an experience, and in speeches, when you use experiences, you promote your topic, and those experiences are very good. I loved the convo thing you did there. The matter was very informative with a good topic, fall before you fly. I also noticed that you had some very nice gestures. You used your space very well. You moved around and with hand gestures. I like that very well. And also you used your voice modulation properly at high pitch sometimes, low pitch, fast, slow sometimes. Now, as we always say, there's room for mistakes, but there's not much this time. Just two things for me. The lighting, you were standing, I think, in the light was behind you, so it was hitting you, and there was some clarity issue. So I would suggest facing the light when you stand. The light should be in front of you so that it appears in your face and does not make it blur. So then the second thing is the timing. The timing was a bit limited. So you did not reach the minimum limit given, but no problems. You have a lot of time to improve. Me myself, I always have a thing with time. I sometimes just not get to the time. Sometimes gets over time. Sometimes full of nervous, I go fast like a metro speed. And I congratulate you as you have finished your level 3 project. And best of luck to you. I loved your speech all in all. Good luck to you, and back to you, Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you so much, Gavel Master Merin. The way she did her evaluation is something that our coordinators and Gavels used to teach us. At the end, you have to congratulate them for completing the project. And when I came to Toastmasters, you don't often do that anymore. So I was kind of relieved that nobody will pass or fail me in any project, because I used to repeat multiple times. But something that I would love to commend Gavelier Alka on was the objective of this project is to get to the point as soon as possible, because you cannot keep beating around the bush and trying to woo the audience with as many aspects of your speech, but you have to get to the point. And that is something that is kind of missing in the Toastmasters setup, if a lot of people would have noticed it. Yes, TTM Radnosh, I had an account flaw. I know you. Yes, okay, yes. You can fill an entire paper with my account itself. What I believe is that as you are growing up, as you have a long journey ahead of you, I would suggest you practice your speech before you perform it here. Because doing it in the online, even us Toastmasters, we find it very constricted. But we definitely have to practice that back at home before we can perform it here. And that is one thing that I would tell you, so that you can assess how much do I move. And something that she raised it very rightly, your evaluator, the lighting of the room. Do that once you enter the meeting room, assess it, and then you are ready and prepared to give your speech. Well, thank you to all the evaluators. You have done a wonderful job. My only recommendation to the evaluators would be, please do the evaluation as if you are doing a performance, because an evaluation is a performance, not your dialogue between a speaker and you. You're not directly speaking to the speaker, you're talking to the audience and telling them what your speaker has done, which was a highlight for you, and what is something that was, that they could have done it better and taken the speech to another level. So this is something that I would, emphasize more on. Other than that, I think you all nailed your evaluations very well. Can I have the timing report for the evaluators before we proceed ahead?
So I'm the online timer. PK Parashar Toastmaster has taken 2 minutes 54 seconds. Sharon has taken 3 minutes 8 seconds. Girish Toastmaster has taken 3 minutes 2 seconds. Nasha has gone little over time, but I think we can consider 3 minutes 59 seconds. And Merin has taken 2 minutes 6 seconds. Almost all are qualified.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Fatima, for doing a wonderful job. So are we going to have the voting right now?
Yes, we can launch the poll right. Yes.
So everybody can vote and then we'll move ahead.
Now, can we have also the grammarian, everybody give their report and launch the polls?
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I was hoping that I keep the grammarian and our counter for the last, because once I start giving my report, I would love for the grammarian and our counter to keep a check on my language and pause fillers that I'll be using. Because trust me, people can get rich when I use pause fillers.
Yeah.
So I'll finish my report as soon as possible, because there's not much to say.
Right.
And then I'll
finish the report and then you can call the others. Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Girija. 5 clubs. What a joint meeting. It's finally over, honestly. 35 participants, 11 sitting physically, 24 that had been here. And for me, this was a privilege, an honor moment for me to be here, present with you all. Please give yourselves a round of applause for organizing this joint meeting. We often have joint meetings with 2 clubs, and we go through a situation where it's very chaotic with 2 clubs itself. It's 5. I saw the agenda and I told Toastmaster Rusby that I have to take out time to see the actual agenda to understand what exactly is going on. And I do not want to be lost as a GE, because that does not reflect good on me. The meeting started at 6:40 Bahrain time and 9:10 India time. I would suggest I would have given the time for globally, because there are people from all across the world, but then that would have made me calculate too much and not paid attention to the meeting itself. So I apologize. But something that I believe, it's very, very important, whether you do a joint meeting, whether it's your regular club meeting, follow the parliamentary procedures. Definitely propose that we are extending the time due to the absence of some of our assignees. We are extending the time to 10 minutes. I propose the motion, and you mention your name and your club, because as it's 5 clubs, we want to know, so that the secretary can note down all those points. The next thing that I loved is how the president, instead of calling upon guests and everything, he mentioned who were the guests, and he invited everybody. He mentioned all the clubs that were there, and he talked about who were the VP, who were the ExCom members. It was beautiful, and it was given so much of importance. Each club got its own significance and value, that for me, I felt that yes, it is great. If I was part of the clubs, I would feel so much more important, and that's very important. As the president, you have to set the tone for the meeting, for the rest of the meeting. Going towards the two Toastmaster of the day. You're giving me ideas for hybrid meeting. Thanks to DTM Raja, I'll be contacting you for, helping me with hybrid meeting setup, because honestly, everything was clear on that side of the screen. And I honestly did not have any glitches from this end. Usually what happens in online a hybrid meeting that I have noticed is where we find glitches. The online people cannot hear, or the physical people cannot hear us. So there was nothing as such that I believe, and the audience would also attest the same. And we had two Toastmaster of the days. We need to take this back to other clubs in the district to tell them, once you conduct hybrid meeting, you can have two assignees. That gives more people a chance to perform, to participate in the meeting as a whole. And that's such a beautiful idea, honestly. With two timers, what I believe, as you had gone all the way to do all the 2, I would have loved to have two table topic masters, so that our dear Gavelier Leah would not have faced the situation. What is the person, the physical room? I saw that. So let's avoid that, honestly. But great job done. My highlight of the entire meeting was, for me, was the table topic session. If somebody saw me and saw my reactions, would have noticed that I loved the table topic session. And this is what I had told Toastmaster Farooq as well. Immediately, I was like, the topics are so great. And Gavelier Leah, if you're free, just drop in your number. I would love to be on contact with you. Would you be willing to do our table topic session in another club as well? Because you brought out the topics, you really made them think. And that's very important, because yes, please do clap for her. Proud moment for coordinators, all the Gaveliers, honestly, because you really made them think on their feet. Today's table topic session was a testament to that particular quote. And I want you to showcase your skills at different, clubs as well. So definitely, I'll get in touch with DTM Renosh and try to get in touch with you as well. Coming to the table topic speakers, you were equally competent enough to answer and respond to her topics. That's also important, because if you do not understand what the topic is, that's where the excitement, the thrill of the topic just loses out on. So it was an immaculately incredible table topic session as a whole. And I love each and every bit of it. The topics really made me think. I am so glad I was not called for table topic session, because I have no answers to any of the topics that you said. And I'm very lucky in that sense. All in all, great meeting. I'm truly, honestly, Toastmaster Rusby, I was just scaring you. I usually am very brutal and ruthless, but how do you evaluate people who are too good to be evaluated? That is what I believe from today's meeting. Thank you. And I would like to request the grammarian to please give your report, ma'am.
Thank you. That was a very insightful report, and look forward to presenting the grammarian report. Word of the day was strife, and DTM Renosh Thomas, Mohammed Rafat, Shirin Matthew, she used it twice, and the table topics master Gavelier Leah also used it once. Good usages were plenty: life-changing opportunity, hands-on experience, difficult decisions. There was an alliteration there: altruistic, tired and beaten, rich and famous, revisit our ambitions, essence of ourselves, pour out your soul into, feed your mind, constructive. These were very good usages. Areas of improvement, I didn't know, because we don't have two positives, two past tenses together. Did not itself is past tense. So the next verb, the main verb that comes in, has to be in the present tense. So we never say didn't knew, it'll be didn't know. Why it happened with me? Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? The way the question is formulated is different from the way a sentence is formulated. So after the question verb, you will have the subordinate verb, and then you will have the main verb. So why did this happen to me? Myself followed by name. I'm myself so-and-so. Never introduce yourself myself so-and-so. It is either I am so-and-so, or you say my name is so-and-so, and I'm a chartered accountant and I'm a lawyer, whatever. I myself did it. I myself was not aware. So myself is used as a reflexive pronoun to show emphasis or to take responsibility. I myself did it. I myself am responsible for it. But for introduction, never start with myself. One of the reasons, there are many reasons, and among them one. That is the correct expression. I was not knowing. I was not knowing is wrong. I did not know, because it is not past continuous. At a specific time, you were not aware. So I did not know. I need the motivations. Motivation is always singular. I need the motivation, appreciation, criticism. These are always used in singular, even though you may receive many different forms of motivation, many different forms of appreciation. Still, you say motivation, appreciation, criticism, etc. Started with a bang. And these are the corrections that I could notice. Pronunciation errors. Career, somebody pronounced this as career, it is career. And similarly, audience, somebody pronounced this audience. It is not O, it is A. The pronunciation is not O, it is A. All of us do have our mother tongue influence. There is nothing wrong with it. But anything that can take you away from the clarity of understanding, that is where I will point out. Thank you so much. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Girija. That was a wonderful report. I had goosebumps because anybody who knows me, I call myself a grammar Nazi, and I loved hearing the entire report of yours. Let's move on to my least favorite role, honestly, our counter, because I'm penalized for it too many times. Let me invite DTM Ranosh to please give his report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Once again, good evening to all fellow Toastmasters and guests. Well, today, the one thing that I did not have, though it was the theme, was freedom. Freedom from the pen and the paper. Well, in fact, you all made me busy today, but that's my role, and that's very important. As an R counter, it's important for me to listen very carefully, to observe this, and it is also equally important that we all strive to enhance our vocabulary, enhance our communication, so that we try to minimize these fillers as much as possible. I will not go in detail with the reports, but having said that, I will only say the majority of those that I'm going to say right now said the word Some of us said and but I'll give it a kind of a doubt. I can take it aside, but I'll just say that majority used more. Now I'll just name only those who have used the word majority. Toastmaster Harish, Toastmaster Muhammad Amar Arafat, Toastmaster Rusby, Toastmaster Nasha, Toastmaster Sharon, Gavelier Meren, Toastmaster Girish, Toastmaster Regina, Distinguished Toastmaster Raja, and our General Evaluator as well, Toastmaster Sarah. They were the ones who used a majority. Now, a few used repeated words. Toastmaster Muhammad Amir Arafat used the word in quite often. He had a General Evaluator. He used you know, and it's. These are the two words that were quite repeatedly used. Apart from that, it was fantastic hearing all of you. I think next time I need to keep myself away from this pen and paper. I'm sure all of you will definitely minimize this next time, and I'm looking forward to fantastic speakers ahead. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, DTM Ranosh. I'll tell you the solution to your problem. If you want to stay free from the pen and paper, just stop inviting me to your club meetings. That's the solution. Anyways, thank you so much. With that wonderful reports by your role players, by the evaluators, I think my job is done here, and I sign off as your GE. I give the control back to Toastmaster Girija to please take on the proceedings of the session.
Thank you for a very insightful report and very interesting observations. We'll now launch the polls again. Just a minute. I request everybody to respond to the polls. And in the meantime, I take the liberty to introduce our area director. Our area director has been there right from the beginning, observing us. This is our area director visit. Area Director Tosin Araujulu is a professional civil engineer who moved from the United States to Bahrain in 2009. She is a certified leadership coach, speaker and trainer with John Maxwell Group. Wow. She joined Toastmasters in 2014 and has held several positions. She is a Division 1 District 20 Humorist Speech Champion and has received the Triple Crown Award. She is the current Area 35 Director. Her passion is to empower professionals to live a life of significance and be the agents of change that they would like to see in the world. So I'm very happy to have her here. And as soon as the polls are done, then I would request her to give her observations on the meeting and share her feedback so that we can improve our meeting better and make it better. Thank you.
You want me to speak? I think she said I should wait, right?
11 of 8. Pardon me?
You want me to say something now or should I wait?
Yeah, as soon as the poll is over so that people can pay complete attention to you. It would just be over in a matter of seconds. 13 of 18 participated, I think. Those who are hosts cannot participate, right? So I think we have done it now, right? I end the poll. Yes.
Thank you so much.
So you can see the polls and you can see and share it with me after you total it. Thank you so much, Renosh. Yes, look forward to your address, Assistant, our area director, ma'am.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and the online folks. Good to see you as well. First of all, I have to say, I'm very impressed. This is the first time I've seen, first of all, 5 clubs in a meeting. I was talking to the young lady next to me that I'm going to keep this as a souvenir because I've never seen a program this big. So I'm definitely going to keep it. So I am the area director for Area 35, for which Indian Academy falls under my area. However, I'm very pleased to be here to observe the joint hybrid meeting of all the clubs working together. It's really amazing to have this kind of collaboration. So great to be here. And my observation is that everything went very smoothly. The setup was well put together. The camera views were all in a place where we could see everybody and everybody could see what was going on. I want to commend our IT champion. He's always doing such an amazing job. And he put everything together so that we could enjoy and participate in the meeting. So a couple of things since there are 5 clubs, I will speak to DTM Raja separately regarding Indian Academy observation. I'll do that on a separate note, one-on-one. But overall, well done. This was a great meeting, and thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Area Director. It has been a pleasure to listen to you, and I would certainly see whether I can draw any lessons with whatever you share with Raja. I'm not going to let it go. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Now our closing notes at the lessons learned from the freedom fighters, and I would just like to share a few things before we close. Clarity of thought from the clarion call for Swaraj from Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Courage from Rani Lakshmi Bai, who at the age of 29 died at battle in Gwalior. Netaji with this visionary statement, you give me blood and I give you freedom. The need to sacrifice to realize the value of what we get. Thirst for knowledge and courage of Bhagat Singh, who till the last minute at the age of 23 was reading books before he was just hanged to death at the age of 23. Even until the last moment, he was reading books. Jyotiba Phule, who fought for equality of the downtrodden so that everybody can fight shoulder to shoulder for freedom. Dadabhai Nauroji, who taught us alertness of bringing to our attention the economic exploitation of our nation by the British. He was the first person to make us aware of it. How to lead a life dedicated to principles, from Begum Hazrat Mahal, who fought in the forest in exile when she was thrown away from Mewat. And the British tried to bribe her with huge money and comforts, but she said no. And she stood with the freedom fighters and stayed in the forest, even though she was used to very rich life. That is the experience that we have learned from freedom fighters and the lessons that will stand for life. Now, the presiding officer, Girish Mittal, has excused himself because he is not keeping well. And so I would like to share the vote of thanks. And in the meantime, we can also look at the certificates. And after that, we can have the vote of thanks. So just bear with me for a few minutes. I will just share the certificates and then we can have the vote of thanks. Right. So this is our certificate of appreciation presented to our general evaluator. Please put your hands together for our general evaluator, Sarah Ibrahim. Then we have a certificate of appreciation presented to Mohammed Arafat, who has come from Egypt and presented his speech. Put your hands together for appreciation for him. Then we have got the two people who gave icebreakers, the Toastmasters Harish Natarajan and Anand Soni, receiving their certificates. Hearty congratulations to you on that. Then, yes, the best table topic speaker is, two people are there, Romi and Girija. So I will correct that. Yes. So shall we send the rest of the certificates by, I will post it in the group and then we can share it. The certificates are ready. I'll just post it in the group. Yes. So I'm happy to present the vote of thanks. I do not know whom to thank. The collaboration itself has been such a beautiful experience. With Atmanirbhar Bharat, I came to know a few of the people here, especially our DTM Renush Thomas, and he has been my guiding light. And when he invited us that we can have when I asked him whether we can do a joint meeting, he welcomed me with open arms. Already you were having a joint meeting with 3 clubs, and definitely this caused the need to have probably a hybrid meeting, because we can join you only online, and still you did all the efforts to do it. And I believe that this is the best hybrid experience that I have experienced, because this is not, believe me, the first hybrid meeting that I'm attending. There are so many conferences that I have attended. Nowhere we have matched this kind of precision and beauty. So thank you very much for the seamless experience. The way all of us are almost like in our WhatsApp chats fighting for information and asking that this is required, that is required, and all the time at the back of people. I think This is required. We are here to nudge each other because we can become the best version of ourselves. And we do not mind if somebody points at our faults. That is the biggest lesson that Toastmasters has taught us, that it is only with, very constructive feedback given with the intention to improve us, that we improve in our life. So this is a beautiful opportunity. It is not only we are improving in our speaking skills or leadership skills, but I think in compassion, empathy, we are improving. So as human beings, we are becoming more service oriented. So we are working to the value of Toastmasters. Toastmasters says service is one of the most important values. And that is the value, integrity and service. That two values we are carrying with us. Beautiful. Over to you. Thank you so much. And let me adjourn the meeting on behalf of the... Yes. Thank you.